guys, my name is Sergey with the Tabletop Warlords, and today we're going to be talking about Munitions Scutters. As soon as I posted my attack Scutter video, everyone asked me about Munitions Scutters, so I'm making this one for you. If you haven't already watched my attack Scutter video, I would recommend watching that one first. This unit shares a lot of characteristics with an attack Scutter, and I go a little bit more in depth with some of those characteristics in the attack Scutter video. But if you want to support this channel, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to purchase any Munitions Scutters for yourself, you can hit the affiliate link right beneath this video. It'll bring you to the Warlords store, and anything you purchase there will give us a small commission. But if you want to support this channel in the best way pan-humanly possible, go ahead and join our Patreon campaign. Our patrons are the lifeblood of this channel, and they're the reason we can keep on making these awesome videos. Munitions Scutters are one of the most out-of-the-ordinary auxiliary choices in Antares space. That is because they are not only a support unit, they are actually capable of a pretty decent amount of firepower on their own. They're also accessible by all three factions of Gar, and they're very similar throughout all three factions. If there is ever a difference, however, I will make a note of it when it arises. Just like with attack Scutters, the first difference is in the price tag. In Gar Empire and Gar Rebels, this unit is 26 points, whereas in Gar Exiles, it's 28. For that really low price point, you get an incredible unit. It has Agility 3, which is a little bit lower than its attack Scutter counterpart. It has Accuracy 5. Its Res is 4, boosted up to 10 by being on the Scutter. Its Initiative is 7, which is pretty respectable. And its Command is 7 in the Gar Empire and Gar Rebels army, but 8 in the Gar Exiles army. It's large, which can make it a little bit clunky getting across the field, especially compared to other auxiliary choices. It's a crawler, which further makes it a little bit more clunky, particularly when you're dealing with some types of terrain. It's scramble proof, which is a great special rule, making it immune to a lot of the tricky plays in pan-human armies, most notably the Subverter Matrix. And it's got a plasma reactor, which is usually kind of a flaw, but it doesn't really matter with this unit because there's no other models in the unit, it's just one guy, so if it explodes, it's not a big deal. But it's not really the stats and the special rules that you care about with this unit. While its stats are good, the amazing thing about this unit is that it's equipped with a Scour cannon. If you've watched the attack Scutter video, you know that most of the time Gar are spending upwards of 200 points just to get access to Scour cannons, whereas this unit is under 30. That's absolutely insane. The Scour Cannon is awesome. It has a high strike value single shot mode, it has a rapid fire mode that's great for clearing out infantry, but most notably for this unit is its disruption mode. Its disruptor mode allows it to fire disruptor rounds. When a unit is hit with a disruptor round, even if it's heavily armored, it takes 2 pins. 2 pins is a really big deal. Some units actually crumble just to having 2 pins. And this unit is under 30 points. If you can cause a 100-point unit to falter with an under 30-point unit, you've done something awesome. I talk about cost efficiency in Antares all the time, and this unit is like the pièce de résistance of cost effectiveness. And its awesome armaments don't stop there, it also has some supportive abilities. Most of your long-range bombing units in the Gar Empire are going to have limited ammo. This means that if you get unlucky and you're shooting with them, they can actually run out of ammo and no longer shoot. A Munitions Scutter has something called a bomb feeder. This is a supportive tool that allows this unit to reload a friendly unit if it ends its activation within 5 inches of them. This can be extremely useful, particularly if you're running a lot of Gar bomber suits. And it just further goes to increase the cost effectiveness of this unit. Not only is it an offensive unit, but it also has supportive capabilities. That's awesome. And if that wasn't enough, it has access to some incredible upgrades. The most important of which is the fact that it can get a plasma amp. If you liked a unit that can cause 2 pins a turn at under 30 points, you're going to love a unit that can cause 4 pins a turn at under 40 points. The Plasma Amp is only 10 points, and it effectively makes you mod 2 50% of the time, allowing you to activate twice in a turn. This means you can move and shoot twice, or recover and then shoot if you've taken some pins. This upgrade, I would say, is probably an auto include on this unit. It just gives it so much extra bang for its buck. The next upgrade is a little bit more situational. For 5 points, you can upgrade its bomb feeder to also feed lugger ammo. Whether or not this upgrade is useful kind of depends on your army composition. If you're running a lot of outcasts, I could see this maybe being something you want to invest a couple of extra points at. That being said, lugger ammo really doesn't run out that often. So if you're spending the 5 points, you might find a better place for it. But if you've already gotten all the little things that you want, this can't really hurt. The final upgrade this unit can get only shows up in the Gar Exiles list, and it's a plasma dome. I'm usually not a huge fan of this upgrade, but this unit might actually be a pretty good place to put it. Because it's a solo unit with only armor 10, it's not that defensible. It's also not a drone or a vehicle or anything like that, so it doesn't even have a damage chart. If it gets shot and fails a res test, it's dead. This can make it a pretty attractive unit for opponents to shoot at, so it tends to draw some fire. The plasma dump allows you to go down with this unit and throw up a smoke screen, giving all enemy units firing at it -2 to their accuracy. This can dissuade an enemy from shooting at it, or it can make them waste a couple shots if they decide to go through with it anyway. Either way, it's only 5 points, and it's just one of those things you're not going to prioritize, but if you have 5 points left over at the end, it's not a horrible thing to put on a unit. All of those upgrades, mixed with the fact that this unit is just at its base level really awesome, makes this an incredibly interesting auxiliary choice. It's also one of the few offensive auxiliary choices you can take, which is cool just in of itself. That being said, you don't see every Gar army running this unit because it's in a hotly contested spot. At most point values, Gar only get one auxiliary choice, and tech tourists are an incredible auxiliary choice. So whenever you're building a list, you have to choose. Do you field tech tourists, which makes your entire army better at shooting, or do you field the munitions Scutter, which is good at shooting in of itself? I don't really have an answer to that question. Both of these units are incredibly awesome. Fielding an amped munitions Scutter at 500 points really adds a lot of firepower to a 500 point army. That being said, giving all of your units rerolls in a 500 point army also adds a lot of firepower to a 500 point army. Ultimately, I really don't think one of these units is better than the other. Both of them are super awesome, and I think the choice is really going to come down to your playstyle. Do you want to be super aggressive and throw 1,000 shots downfield? Field the munitions Scutter so you can get some extra firepower. Do you want to mitigate a little bit of variance in your army and be more sure that the shots that you do fire downfield hit? Then you'll want to field the tech tourists. I heavily recommend trying out both of these units and just getting a feel for which one you prefer at a lower points value. At higher points value, field both of them like 100%. They'll both add a ton to your army. Now, from a hobby perspective, I absolutely love this model. It's like the Dr. Octopus of the Gar Empire. It's got these weird little bomb feeder arms, and it also is just on a regular old Scutter frame, which is super cool. It also has a really cool bomb rack on the back, which just adds a little bit of detail to an already really detailed model. On top of that, its rider has a lot of exposed skin on its arms, which gives you a little bit of an opportunity to break up the stark metal of the Gar with some flesh tones. Contrast is the lifeblood of a really cool looking army on the battlefield, and whenever you have a breakup of armor to flesh tone like that is an opportunity to add awesome contrast. Well, I hope you guys liked this video, and I hope you found it informative. Let me know in the comments if there's any unit you particularly want a unit highlight of next. I'd also love to hear your thoughts in the comments about whether or not you field munitions Scutters or tech tourists at low point value games. And as always, I'll see you all on the tabletop.